I'm going to do it. The other day, some of us went on a 9-hour hike, right? We did three 14ers, Lincoln, Democrat, and Bros. And so the idea is if I can hike for 9 hours at 14,000 feet, surely I can walk, 3 miles an hour for 9 hours, and then I can post it on Facebook and say I did a marathon. Why was I talking about any of that? Right. The point is that I can't say I'm a marathoner. That's an aspirational goal. That's not who I am currently, but maybe that's who I will be. But so core value, it's who you are. And so businesses do this, organizations, nonprofits, churches, people. And recently our family decided to do this. And so we kind of looked at ourselves and said, who are we? And we even asked some people, and this is my wife's doing here, but this is who we are. And I'm not going to ask you to read all of this, but our Ojala family plan, we came up with like a mission statement and standard objectives and defining it's crazy, but we might actually do this. So the point is we're going to try to do this. And we define our family. And so the first statement there, our family shows verbal and physical affection to one another openly and regularly. Okay, we can go to a different slide there. But the point is that this is who we are as a family right now. So it's not who we want to be. It's really who we are. And some of you guys have hung out with our family, and we've asked you, what do you guys see? And some of the interns that have been living with us and spending a lot of time with us have noticed and said, man, you guys tell each other how much you love each other all the time. We've heard that from so many different people that come to our house. And so that's one of my core values, is I want my kids to know how well they are loved. It's unfortunate that this had to come from a Facebook forward post thing, kind of. But I saw this thing on Facebook one day, and it said, basically, the words to your children will become their inner voice. And so I'm a little upset that I was moved by something on Facebook. It's a little angry for me. But the idea is, if that's really true, if what I speak over my children becomes true, I want them to be very secure. In my relationship with them, and also as a father, they're going to view God kind of the way they view me. And so the best I can do is just to love them and lavish. And so that's really who we are as a family. Like, we love our kids. We lavish love on them. I told this story before, but I often tell them, even when yesterday Daddy was very mad, I got very angry with him, but even when I calmed down, I sat him down and said, guys, you need to know, even when Daddy is mad at you, I still love you, right? My love doesn't fluctuate. It's not conditional. And so that's truly like a core value of who we are. It's really a core value of our family. And so I want to talk about some of the core values of Elements, again, with this spiritual capital. So one of them is outreach. Guys, as far as the leadership of Elements, Leila and I, and Matt and Misty and Michelle and Lydia, like we really love Jesus, like a lot. We really love God, and we want other people to know God. And that's one of our core values, is outreach, sharing Christ with people through any means necessary, through our physical capital, our intellectual capital, our financial capital. And some things this might sacrifice, right? So we have a service every Sunday night, and I've said this before, but to be honest, if we poured all of our time and energy and money into this service, we could make it better. We could do that. And as a pastor, Lyle and I were on staff where 95% of the resources went towards the Sunday morning service. And it was a really good service, but everything was about that. And so we've decided, I think we do this, but at some point now, financially it's a little more, but eventually we don't want any more than 20% of our energies going towards this, because we want to be engaging 7 nights a week. We want to be hanging out with people. We want to be serving people. And so one of the core values is outreach. And so that means other things may not get as much attention as this. Now there's certain things that we definitely can do and we need to focus on. So one of the things that I am upset about, and it does hurt us, and that's Matt's situation. I don't know if you guys are familiar. If we can show that picture, this next. So this is one of the things that I think we can do better as a church is we really need what's called a lumbersexual worship leader. Right now it's very popular. And so a lumbersexual is a man who wears outdoor type clothing such as plaid shirts, jeans, and boots, has a beard, but lives a modern urban lifestyle. So if we can go to that picture. Guys, we just need to pray. Matt unfortunately it's fortunate that he got a job, but his job forced him to shave his beard. I mean, if you can see the progression here. I mean, that's on the far right. That is not a man. That's a 12-year-old boy who's not sure if he likes girls or not yet. Okay, this is not. And so hopefully we are praying for Matt to either get a job or find favor with his bosses, so that we can once again have the worship leader that we deserve, and I think that's a measure of excellence that we can have here at Elements Church. But our core values is it's really it's who you are on the inside. And again, I think this is Matt. This is who Matt is on the inside. It's just not manifesting on the outside. Man, you look like you're in junior high there. That's terrible. Good job. But one of the core values of Elements Church is multiplication. We go to Genesis 1:8. Now this is the first book of the Bible, right? So God had just created Adam and Eve, and this is the first command ever in Scripture. And so Adam and Eve are in the garden, and God says, God blessed them and said to them, "Be fruitful and increase in number, fill the earth and subdue it, rule over the fish of the sea and the birds of the sky, and over every living creature that moves upon the ground." Right? And so this is the first command: be fruitful and multiply. So basically, he's like, all right, you guys exist. Go at it, all right? So let's make some babies. It's like God's like an overzealous grandparent, right? He's telling his kids, like, all right, it's time to get on this. We need to multiply. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. Is what is multiplication? What does this look like? Right? And so Lyle and I, we've done this. We came together. It took us about 9 years to figure it out, but we eventually had kids. We had 3 in 3 years. Just kind of knocked it out. So we feel we've done our parts. We went from 2 to 5, so that's a good number. We've multiplied ourselves. But the idea is, what does it look like really to multiply ourselves and others? And that's one of the core values of who we are. And other things might have to be sacrificed because of the multiplication that we're doing. So one of the things we've talked about is missions teams. Just an example. So this, over spring break when we launched our church, we had, between the spring, this is the picture of a bunch of the university students that were here. And so this week, I think we had 55 people from 3 different schools. So over the spring, we had 9 different missions teams. We had 111 students come here. 111 students came here that spent anywhere from $500 to $1,000 to come and to serve our church and also to learn from Elements Church. Now, and we're friends with a lot of pastors, a lot of ministries around the country. I only know of 1 or 2 ministries that have this many people come. So obviously God is doing something. I mean, obviously we're not this huge church quite yet, but God's bringing people to us. And all these people came because they wanted to learn from us, which is crazy. And so over the 4 weeks of spring break, the 18-hour days for 29 days straight, we got to pour into 111 students. And over we heard, this week literally changed my life. I am a different person. And so very early on, when God spoke to Leila and I about Elements Church, he said, God told us he wants to change Summit County. He wants to see people come to know him. He wants to change the environment here. He wants to. And if you guys knew Sarah, who got baptized the other day, I mean, we knew her several years. We've known her for 9 years. Before we even moved here, we met her. I don't want to break confidence, and I don't think she would mind me. I don't say too much, but I mean, she, just like the rest of us, she was a broken person. She had issues. She had dysfunctions, just like me, just like you. And to see the change in her, I mean, there's a joy in Sarah. It's not possible inside of herself. There's a contentment in her that is not possible. She has found something in Christ that has literally changed her life. And we want other people to share that. So all these people have come to learn from us. And so we've sent them back home. This year we had the privilege of having 6 interns, right? 6 amazing interns. And we spent a lot of time with these guys. We really poured our lives and hearts into them, and hopefully they're better off when they go back home. 3 have left. We've got 3 left with Gabby leaving tomorrow. Asa and Michael here, but we've really spent a tremendous amount of time just pouring our lives into them. Why? Well, because we believe that they're going to go change the world. We were talking the other day, kind of our last formal internship meeting. We said, guys, not that Lyle and I are big deals or anything, but we gave you everything we had. In the last 2 months, 2.5 months, we poured everything we had into you. Hopefully it'll make some difference, and hopefully you can go share that with other people. But here's the thing, we did that with expecting nothing in return. And of course, I mean, they helped on the worship team, they helped with some things, but hopefully someone will come back and they'll tell, 60 of their closest friends that they must come here into the perfect will. God wills it, right? So, Kingdom of Heaven, in case you haven't seen that, it's a good line. But we don't know if we're going to receive anything back from pouring into these six guys and gals this summer. But the idea is this is the kingdom of God. This is what multiplication looks like. You pour into people without ever expecting anything in return. This is what Jesus did throughout Matthew 28. This is the Message version. Jesus, undeterred, went right ahead and gave his charge. God authorized and commanded me to commission you. Go out and train everyone you meet, far and near, in this way of life, making them by baptism in the threefold name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Then instruct them in the practice of all I have commanded you. I will be with you as you do this day after day after day, right up to the very end of the age. So if we look at the life of Jesus, what did he do? Lyle and I are church planters. We've gone basically through like church planting school. We've read a million books on church planting. We've been to church planting conferences. We've been trained. We have about over 100 friends who have planted churches all around the country. This is our lives, so we're very engrossed in this. And so the idea of church planting is you try to get a bunch of people into a service, a bunch of people into and we want that. Obviously, we want this to grow. We want to bust out of this place. We want to have to rent something else or go to 2 or 3 services. Obviously, we want quantity, but we found the life of Jesus is he focused on quality. He didn't focus on quantity. And Jesus never said, go start a church and hope that people come and see how big you can get it. Jesus said, go and make disciples. And the assumption was based on making a disciple, that the disciple makes the disciple go and pour into someone else's life, who's going to go and pour into someone else's life, who's going to go pour into somebody else's life. And this is one of the core values of our church is, yes, of course we want quantity. Of course we want a ton of people to be here, but we want quality, and we're willing to make sacrifices to pour into people. In fact, on many occasions, Jesus had a big crowd. One time Scripture said he had 5,000 men, and so we're not sure if that was 5,000 people or just the men. It could have been up to 12,000, 15,000, including women and children. He's got this huge crowd, so Jesus is officially going to be the first mega church pastor, right? He's going to open his Twitter account, his Facebook account. He's going to fly a private jet here pretty soon. He's got a mega church right there. And he looks at the crowd. He's got his 12 disciples there, and he said, you know what? If you're not going to drink my blood and eat my flesh, then don't follow me. And slowly, the 5,000 people just leave. And I can imagine the disciples are like, Jesus, can we have a minute? Can we just come chat? I'm not sure if that's the best strategy. We have 5,000 people show up. We could have been like a big deal. Our egos are getting puffed up. We can really start a movement here. And you just basically told everyone to go away. I'm kind of questioning your overall strategy and mission. What is your core value? What is your mission statement? Where are we going? The fact is, for three and a half years, Jesus poured into these 12 guys, and those 12 guys went and changed the world. And for those of us who know Christ, we know Christ today because of the time that he spent with the 12. So the idea is that we can multiply ourselves and others, that we can change the world. And so one of my dreams, I just want to share with you for a moment what I see. So Elements Church, we've learned some things, and been through some experiences, and we really want to multiply. And so my dream is that I'd love to see people go into missions. I'd love to see people go into marketplace ministries. I'd love to see church plants. My dream somehow is I'd love to have eventually a 7,000, 8,000 square foot house in the middle of Frisco. And just have a hostel, have 10 washers and dryers and a million bunk beds in there, and just bring in people who are coming into Summit County. All the people that just show up and have no place to live, and they're living in Montezuma. I'll figure something out. End up couch surfing for months. I would love to have a place to receive them. I would love to have a training center where we just equip and train people. I'd love to have just basically like a Christian frat house where people just come and just live life. And so we don't know if this is going to happen, so I hope I'm not putting Michael on the spot. He hasn't committed yet, mostly because he's living in sin and just hasn't heard perfectly from God. But for whatever reason, I get the opportunity to speak at these campus ministry groups all over the country, and I've been challenging them lately because they're just awesome. They're doing a lot of good stuff, but once they graduate, they just kind of, it's like smoke in the wind, and nobody knows what happens to them, and not a whole lot of good stuff, really. Everyone just kind of goes away, and no one knows. And so I've been challenging them. Guys, I have no idea what this looks like. I have no idea how to do this, but you really need to take, when you graduate, you and 10 of your closest friends and move to a city and partner with a church, inject your DNA into that church, what you've learned through your campus ministry, or go start a church, just go do something to change the world. So none of us actually know how to do this, and Michael has kind of caught the vision for this. He graduated from Montana State, and he wants to go back and start recruiting a team. Now, I'm stating that's obviously the will of God for him to bring that team back here. But the point is to get a bunch of people together and create this awesome community and come. And guys, my vision is that teams would come here and stay for a year, stay for 2 years, and we would train them and equip them and then send them out to plant churches, have them go change the world. And so I know we're not this mega church in Summit County where I say this all the time, we're about 5 months old, and sometimes, a lot of times we act like a 5-month-old here at Elements Church, so be patient with us. But God's really called us to do something amazing, not just in Summit County, but we take what we've learned here to give it to others and to send people out. And so from this small little mountain community, we can change the world. But it's not necessarily always going to be through quantity, it's going to be through pouring our lives into people. Day after day, hour after hour, just month after month. And so this is the Jesus model. He had thousands and thousands come, and so many times he dismissed them. And he focused on the 12, focused on maybe the 72 and the 120, but he's focused on a small group of people. And what I've learned is really it's quality that changes the world. The people that invested in my life over years and over almost multiple decades now, they've changed me. And that's kind of our mantra in Elements Church. We want to pour into people who are committed to pouring into people. So here's the challenge I have for you. And this is not maybe something to answer right now, but what are you passionate about? I hope this is a good thing to say. I know a lot of churches probably wouldn't say, but we have holes in our church, right? And you're supposed to fill some of those holes. Leila and I and the Shells and Michelle and Lydia, we can't do everything. And so what are you passionate about? What do you want to do? So many times people in churches, I remember Leila and I were discussing this a while back. One time we were having dinner with this couple, one of our other churches, and they had a construction company. They're talking about it. Man, pastor, our senior pastor really needed a new roof, and they were so angry. They're like, why doesn't someone step up in a church and just put a new roof on pastor's house? It would only take like a whole day. We could get a ton of people in there, and it'd be so easy. And I'm just staring at them, putting on a roof, right? So I was talking to Michael about this the other day. A few weeks ago, I installed a garbage disposal. Now, it took me about 3 hours, 9 explicatives, and about 3 Band-Aids later, I had the one off, right? And then I had to install another one. So another series of explicatives later, and some more bleeding, and some more cursing. And finally, I got this thing out. I mean, it took me like 3, 4, I can't remember. It took me many hours to install a garbage disposal. Now, Michael could probably install a garbage disposal on his 15-minute break. I mean, it's like, you unscrew it and you screw it back on. That's it. But somehow, it took me 3 or 4 hours to do so. And so I'm sitting across from this couple who owns a construction company. They're talking to the guy who can't change his own oil and doesn't really know how to use these hands here. And they're like, yeah, somebody just needs to do it. And Mal and I just kind of looked at him like, what do you think? I mean, you guys have the skill and the talent. Do you think God might be calling you to kind of spearhead pastor's new roof? And they're like, no, somebody else should do it. I mean, we can come out. I'm like, but you own a construction company. Like, what is wrong with you? I won't mention the name, but there's a church here locally in town that is funny. We stepped in for about 6 months, a bunch of years ago. And there was a church library, and it was down in this like dungeon of the basement, and no one had gone there for decades, and there were like cobwebs and just weird stuff down there. And we were just cleaning out the church, like, guys, we got to get this stuff out of here. And these were books that nobody would want. I know someone's going to be angry with me about this, but nobody wants these books. We had a huge dumpster, like, guys, just throw them away. The library won't even take these things. That's just, I don't know, you're angry. And this lady came in just in this, how can you dare throw away books? We need to start a church library. And we're like, that's awesome. When are you going to start that? And it's just the offense that came over. What do you mean I'm going to start? You guys are leading. And I'm like, no, we're not doing the church library. If you're passionate about the church library, you do the church library. And then pretty soon she was like hauling books to the dumpster and throwing them in, right? So the idea is that we have holes in our church, guys. There are so many. I mean, I know how broken I am and how dysfunctional I am with Christ. Who knows how jacked up I would be without, right? There are so many people in Summit County who are so broken and need people. They need the Jesus inside of us. Yes, we're not perfect, but they need Christ inside of us, and you have a vision and a passion to do something. We'll try to scrounge up some money and we'll figure out some people, but like, what do you want to do? What's the passion that God's put on your heart? The second thing is, how are you multiplying yourself in others? And this really could, whether you're a follower of Christ or not. God's given you talents, he's given you experiences. Who are you giving that to? Who are you pouring into? Because I'm convinced more and more it's plotters that change the world. It's people who measure time in decades, not in months or quarters, but people who just dedicate themselves to other people. Because I really think that Element Church is just called to change the world. Again, we're young and we're 5 months old. We act like it sometimes, but God's going to do some amazing things, and we're going to impact people who are going to go impact people who are going to impact people. And we really want you guys to be a part of that. And so some questions here tonight is, again, what are you passionate about? What can we do within Elements Church and how can we help you reach your passion? Again, yeah, there are things that we want to do, but here we don't want to be to say, hey, here's what we're doing, and if you don't fit into this box and you don't do what we want you to do, then go find somewhere else. That's not it. We can't do everything. What has God called you to do? And how are you multiplying yourself in someone else? It really comes down to these two questions. What is God saying, and what are you going to do? If you want to come up and strum a little bit and finish the service out here. If you're comfortable, you don't have to. If you're comfortable bowing your head or closing your eyes, feel free to do so as we start to close here. But bottom line is God's given us so much. And it seems to go to one extreme or the other. It's either God's given us so much and we're just selfish and narcissistic about it and we just refuse to give it to other people. Or maybe it's on the other side. We're like, I got nothing to give. Maybe it's more based on insecurity and you don't understand. Guys, yes, we're all broken people, but we have experiences, we have talents, we have so much to give. I have some friends that just, it's crazy. They tell me stories about counseling and people will come to them. We'll just start talking and my friends will just sit there and they literally won't say a word. An hour and a half goes by and the person bawls the entire time and they walk out. I was like, man, thanks so much. You changed my life. And the person didn't even say a single word. How many people in Summit County just need someone to listen to them? Say, hey, let me take you, let's go to Abby's Coffee. Let's go out for some sushi. Let's just hang out. I just want to hear your story. How many people here just need a friend? And so many of us on one side or the other, we're either just selfish with our time, refusing to give it to others, or maybe we're insecure and say, I don't have anything to do. So tonight the call is kind of, if you're on one side, it's time to get over yourself. It's time to give. It's not just about giving money, it's about giving your time, it's about giving your life. If you're on the other side of the spectrum, God's done so much in you and wants to do so much through you. God would say you're a deep well, just waiting to be tapped. You might have to go seek someone out to give away what you have. So again, what are you passionate about? How are you multiplying yourself in others? Bottom line is, what is God saying to you tonight, and what are you going to do? How can we multiply ourselves? Jesus, I thank you so much for your goodness and mercy, Lord, and your pursuit of, Lord, of me. Even when I didn't want you and I didn't care about you, Lord, that you pursued me. Lord, I thank you for all the people that you've put in my life, just amazing people that poured into my life and multiplied themselves in me. I thank you for the amazing opportunity to share with others what you've done in me. And the people that are going to go change the world. Lord, I thank you for this church. I thank you for the people who are part of Elements. Well, this is only the tip of the iceberg of what you want to do in Summit County and beyond. I pray that we'll multiply ourselves as individuals. I pray we'll multiply ministries. God, I pray that we'll multiply churches, that will send people out of here that are going to go change the world. Let's just take 2 minutes as Matt plays. And let's kind of pray about what God would have you do. Maybe there's something in your heart that just seems completely outrageous, but maybe it's time to start moving out. Or maybe it's as simple as just asking a coworker, hey, let's go out to lunch, and I just want to hear your story. Lord, we just pray that you'll send us out. Lord, ignite a passion in our hearts for you and a passion in our hearts for others. We desperately need you. Lord, help us to find someone that we can multiply ourselves in. The things that you've done in our lives to teach others. Amen. Guys, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. We've got a bunch of stuff going on this week. Just come and hang out. Let's be family. Let's be community. Let's be blessed and go from here. Multiply out. Amen.